Welcome to the O.W.P. This is our wrestling podcast. This is Dave along with Jess.
If you say so, Dave.
Cuz.
The end is here.
And Craig.
You'll know you'll have a good time then.
That's right. Bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. And now on to our topic today, Armageddon 2000. Hit us up on Instagram at O.W.P 2019. Click on Linktree. You can find us on several platforms, including Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast. And anything that we talk about today is inspired by the WWE Network. Do yourself a favor and get your free month today to watch anything WWE, WCW, ECW, and more. Guys, what is going on with our...
I just like to thank Vince for the paycheck. You know, he lets us sponsor the network or promote it and sends us the paycheck.
Yeah, let me know when you get that. Let me know.
And never blocks us on YouTube, that fucker.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You blocked the O.W.P.
Let's just have our Twitch
They're having an
streams.
uprising.
Let's just
I don't
have
like
our OnlyFans. By the way, if you guys want to see a strip show with us for kind of after the podcast, check out our OnlyFans.
Oh,
yeah.
No.
I'll
Craig
whip my
touches
dick out.
nipples.
It's fine.
That's horrifying.
$10 a month. What?
$10 a month. So this is the December pay-per-view offering here, Armageddon, which was like a staple for like 6 or 7 years, something like that. 6 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they had quite a few of them, more than a couple. More than
they
two.
skipped like 2001, and that's I think
they brought it back.
Yeah, good call with 9/11. That's actually
just give you a call.
Cool.
Yeah, that's right.
December 10th, 2000, Birmingham Jefferson Civic Center in Birmingham, Alabama. Attendance was 14,920.
First pay-per-view in Alabama, right? According to Wikipedia. First WWF pay-per-view in Alabama ever.
I did not.
Yep.
Did not
Town hero, Hardcore Holly.
Nice work, buddy.
Did it for him.
What did you think of that little war intro in the beginning for Armageddon?
I liked all the production stuff here. I'll get into that more as we go on the pay-per-view, but they were firing all cylinders here. They were way in the lead here. WCW was on their last dying breath here. They were about probably 3 months away from being bought out and going out of business. So yeah, they were done here. The WWF champion coming into this pay-per-view is Curtis Angle.
Yes.
The Intercontinental champion was the one Billy Gunn. And the tag team champions coming into this pay-per-view were
RTC?
Right to Censor. Over on the WCW side, the last gasp of breath here. I'm going to read the WCW champions as of December 2000. Scott Steiner was world champion. U.S. champion was General Rection. And tag team champion Hugh Morris. Yeah, it was Hugh Morris. And then the tag team champions were The Perfect Event, the team of Chuck Palumbo and Sean Stasiak. WCW, needless to say, 3 months later was
it sounds like Florida Championship Wrestling or something.
Yeah,
awful.
It's so region. Bad to go from what they were. Anyway, I could go on forever about WCW, but WCW was almost done here. WWF was firmly in control, setting records every week, every month, breaking attendance records, breaking pay-per-view records. They were on fire here. They could do no wrong. This December of 2000 was they were starting to think about WrestleMania 17, which would ultimately be regarded as like the greatest WrestleMania of all time. And kind of like the love letter, I think we heard from some wrestling critics say, to the Attitude Era, because the Attitude Era would shortly end. I would say about a year after this, it was really done, because once WCW left, it was over. The war was over.
So, Jess, that love letter was the WrestleMania before this or after this?
No, it was after this. WrestleMania 17, 2001 was pretty much regarded as like a love letter to the Attitude Era because it was really the end of it. After WCW went out of business, there's no
ruthless aggression.
Yeah, ruthless aggression came around like about a year later, and that was it.
Greatest wrestling ever, though.
We're getting to the end here of the Attitude Era with this pay-per-view as well. So, that's the landscape of wrestling at this point. WWF majorly on fire, firmly number one in control. WCW literally 3 months away from being bought out.
Yeah, and that's interesting to hear, like, in full swing, almost the end, but hitting on full cylinders. And with WCW in its death rattle, I didn't enjoy this. So for the talent that they had, and maybe they threw all the talent in the last kind of hour of this.
It's all on top.
Let me say something. Yes, Dave, that is a good point, Dave. But also, this was a December pay-per-view, also. So we have to think about, yes, I know they're trying to make but this was Armageddon. Like, let's be honest. Like, I agree with you. I agree with you, Craig. But it's not one of the top 5. So, like, I wasn't like, I felt the same way that you did. We'll talk about it more as the card unfolds. But then I was like, I had to keep stopping myself going, it's fucking Armageddon. Right. It's December. You know what I mean? Whatever.
It's an off. It's not one of the big 4.
Yeah.
It's an off.
Yeah. Your announcers here are Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler, just so everyone's aware.
Just want to say how awesome Jim Ross was here, by the way. I loved kind of
like
to listen to him now and here. It was awesome here.
But they played off each other quite well too.
And this was Lawler's
of course.
Because Lawler had to leave. Remember the cat.
Oh yeah.
Got fired, and so Lawler walks out shortly after this. Because shortly after this, Paul Heyman becomes the commentator. Yep. And you pretty much realize that ECW is also going to go out of business
during the Alliance era.
Yeah. So before that, because Paul Heyman was commentator during WrestleMania 17, which was only like 3-4 months later.
But that transitioned him into the
yeah. So real quick here, I think Lawler in the next month or two was going to be gone, and he was
not the first nor the last mistake that Lawler ever made with women in business decisions.
Yeah.
Oh my.
And women a lot younger than him, for the record.
Hey,
puppies.
Oh my goodness. So
there's
a
literally puppies, really young
where
puppies.
They're talking about the Hell in the Cell, how brutal it is. That Foley says if someone does get hurt permanently, that he will resign because Foley is our commissioner, Mr. Mick Foley at this point.
Yes, he was a commissioner. And what I thought about this pay-per-view overall was it was like a super Raw. Like they had the back,
really good.
They had the backstage. Again, it wasn't the top 5. It was the December pay-per-view. So I thought the whole time watching this pay-per-view, I was like, "This is like Raw on steroids."
It's promo.
That all the backstage segments.
It's backstage.
But and it had a sub story like Mick Foley.
I had a hard time keeping up, to be honest with you. It was
I don't disagree with you on that. And you can't blame Vince Russo for some of the erratic booking here because he was long gone. He was gone like by a year at this point. So, this is all WWE, all Vincey, all Stephanie, and all those guys.
Not trying to skip ahead too, but why was Vince limping or had a cane?
I don't remember. Something happened in storyline. I'll get to that too because he was funny as shit.
Yeah. Oh, he was fucking hilarious.
But
stand up, damn it!
When he made him adjust the stairs, the stupid fucking stairs, he made him adjust it for his cane.
That was great. Yeah.
So again, they were like celebrating the death of WCW before the death of WCW even happened at this point.
Yeah, they're having so much fun, right?
It was a precursor, right? The end is here.
To precursor everyone for this too, I think it's a show going back worth watching. Excuse me. But it was like a super Raw. They told just like a Monday Night Raw, there would be an underlining storyline or theme, and the whole theme was is like Mick Foley is the commissioner. Mick Foley is like Mr. Hell in the Cell. So he's the commissioner, and he puts all these people, these 5 or 6 people actually, in a cage. And the whole thing, McMahon's trying to get it stopped because he doesn't want Stephanie to be upset because she's upset because Triple H might get hurt. And then on top of that, throughout the whole card, they show all these opponents, Austin, Undertaker, against Mick Foley somehow in some kind of hardcore situation. So it was cool the way they tied Foley into this. He's the commissioner. He put this on them. But at the same time, the whole pay-per-view, it's like they're trying to make Mick Foley feel guilty for doing it. He's like, I don't feel guilty. So it was kind of, did I explain that right?
By the way, Jess, I would pay top dollar for a shirt that says Mr. Hell in the Cell, but that's a tribute to Mick Foley. I think that's an amazing, a good one. Idea. Yeah. And
how's that not happened already?
Make it happen. I know. Jess.
So
I'm sorry, I'll get on it.
So they talk about Foley saying he would resign, and then we get a limo rolling up with VCam pulling out and the Stooges helping him. And he's like, I'm gonna put a stop to this match. Yeah. So
fuck.
But
so
then,
and real quick, the dark match before we go into it here is Scotty 2 Hotty defeated D'Lo Brown in the dark match. No time limit on that one.
That's
so
okay.
I guess it
Yeah,
was
they
fine.
went Broadway.
It's all good.
60 minutes. 60 minutes.
That's stuff. I don't mind that.
So, and then Vince arrives at the arena, which is like a Raw, right? Every time you'd watch Raw around this area, you would see someone get out of the fucking limo and like come in.
You hear the car, you hear the honking, coming into the treadway.
So the opening match was the Radicals, Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, and Perry Saturn with Terry in their corner. They defeated Team Extreme, Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, and Lita. So it was an intergender 6-man tag team match. Elimination.
Only
am I
one
right?
person with a different gender though.
Yeah, it was elimination.
It was an
8
elimination
minutes.
set, but you have to talk about the storyline before that they put forth.
Yes.
Dean Malenko defeated Lita in a match. I'm assuming on Raw to be able to go on a date with her, and Lita,
yes,
okay, I'll do it. Blah blah blah. And then Lita finally says, "Oh, Dean, you're right. I'm so attracted to you." All this stuff. They get back. He's like, check, and because he's going back to the hotel. She gets them all set up in the hotel, and I will say I'm not the biggest like Lita fan in the realm of this, but Lita is looking amazing in this.
Oh my god!
At this hotel.
Oh my god, Lita!
She's quite striking, very beautiful.
Jesus.
And you think something great's gonna happen, but you realize that it's Raw and it's not. I don't know.
This is where my disconnect started to happen with some of the vignettes here because
they got exceptionally long. You have to really
obviously,
explain them.
not even that. Like, obviously, they're airing this on television, and then Lita's like, "What is your wife going to think? You don't have to worry about her." Well, she's watching it on TV. You fuck. Like, so it annoys me when they do stuff like that because after a certain point, when Vince is like, "We make movies, pal," he made these vignettes like soap opera scenes.
Yeah,
to where like you suspend disbelief. So even though we're all watching Dean Malenko on tape say, "My wife doesn't have to know about this," she's watching. Like, I've never liked, I've always had a disconnect with Vince as he progressed with "We Make Movies, pal" after this. I hate vignettes like this. I like what it was. I think it was funny. It was the most personality, by the way, Dean Malenko was ever allowed to show. That's what I was
going to say.
Is this the best? It doesn't work for me. He's always had no, like, I appreciate the attempt, and I love him, but like,
even
it
better.
still doesn't work for me.
You're right. It was an attempt. That's very well worded, Craig. Yeah.
The best personality storyline of Dean Malenko you'll ever see. Otherwise, he's the cold calculated, which is really just subtext for
I don't have a wife.
I can't do anything on the microphone.
She doesn't have to know about this. It's not like we're taping it. Like, it's just it bothered me. Like,
she's not going to come in the studio.
But Dave did a good point there. This was a super Raw. Because this is how they advance storylines on Raw. This didn't seem like a pay-per-view to me. It was like a super Raw, basically. And so, like, it was like this whole skit. I'm glad, though, they were at their best production-wise here, man. Like, these
they told the story better
to tell that story before the match, like, was awesome. It was very clear, as corny as it was.
I understood everything that was going on.
Yeah, I understood everything. Yeah, and I was trying to remember what wrestling was back here. And when I watched the pay-per-view, I'm like, they're making it really easy for me to refresh my memory. And, like,
I'll fast forward 2 hours and 40 minutes, but the production and the camera work inside the cell, holy shit. It was the greatest,
yes.
It's phenomenal. Yeah. It's better than they have today. Even like
great.
the dolly cams like following outside the ground. They were
so what Dave described. So what Dave described was like they do this for every match on the card. It's actually, if you go back and watch this, it's easy for you to get programmed on what was going on
caught up
because the video packages are so good. That's why it reminded me of a Raw, but it wasn't
it's like
terrible.
Last week on Days of Our Lives.
It was an elimination match, which is fine. But this is not Eddie Guerrero, by the way, and this was right before I think he got fired for a bit because didn't he go to Ring of Honor for a couple of years? He did. Eddie Guerrero was not healthy here, and you could tell his movement was off, and I've never seen him like this. We always talk about people like Brett and Eddie. I've never seen them have a bad match. I think I found the one for Eddie right here. Because he wasn't bad, he didn't flub, but he was not Eddie, and he looked odd.
It wasn't long. He was the first eliminated.
Yeah, he was the first eliminated. So here's how it happened. Eddie Guerrero got pinned by Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy got pinned by Perry Saturn. Matt Hardy got pinned by Perry Saturn got pinned by Matt Hardy. Dean Malenko pinned Matt Hardy, which leaves Lita and Malenko at the end. And actually, I was going to give this match a thumbs down because it was so sped up, but Lita and Dean Malenko worked together really fucking well. And so the last 5 minutes of this match was really good.
You forget Lita can really work.
Yeah, like you know, we all talk about.
Work.
We're going to talk about China later too, about wrestling men or whatever. But this was fucking good.
Well,
the last 5 minutes. So I give the match a thumbs down because they just sped it up to get back to the Lita and Dean Malenko thing, which again is a Raw move, is a Raw. You know how they tell.
But that's the story, is it not?
Yeah. So at the very end, you know, Malenko ends up tapping her out with the cloverleaf. And she taps out from that or whatever. But like, like I was
By
like,
the way,
he
put that in hard too.
Think of the lateral press and up. All right. Malenko now, he proved her point. You think he's, now the pants are coming off. Malenko, with a Texas cloverleaf, the submission move, and Lita count. Look at Malenko still punishing Lita.
Lita.
And he was clotheslining her hard and everything. Lita was doing great moves. Like they for the
First elbow in her
minutes,
jaw. My God.
She was. I'm telling you, man. There's something about this moment. I don't know what it is about 2000 Armageddon, and I wanted to touch on it now because you'll see it later in other matches. It's not just Lita. It's not just China. There was no consideration for the fact that you were a lady at this point. If you were in there and a guy was going to hold you, you were going to get your ass kicked. And that has changed. There was a time where it wasn't that way in the 80s, and then it was, and then it definitely wasn't again. This is that short window where, and you can argue this is lucha. This is not lucha. This is women taking power bombs for men and shit.
Yeah.
This is totally different.
Real quick, I'll keep it moving here.
Yeah, sure.
I give it a thumbs in the middle only because of the Lita and Dean Malenko. I would have given it a thumbs down.
I give it a thumbs up for it. I'm crazy.
They saved it.
Their
for
last
me,
5 minutes, like I was like, whoa, this is so good.
Because what do you think?
Thumbs in the middle. Yeah, that's about it.
Craig?
Thumbs in the middle.
Here we go. All right. Well, good for you guys. This is the best I have seen in a Malenko story. Thanks so much for your input there.
Dave's a really big Malenko fan, so that's why.
Jesus Christ.
Oh no, Malenko's great, of course.
No.
I
Let's get right into the
Kurt
Kurt Angle promo, which is so good. And there's a flashback.
Yeah, all through the night they start interviewing the Hell in the Cell participants or whatever, and of course, fucking Angle's great.
He's like, you don't think I've thought about it? What?
You gonna interrupt
How
my
dare
workout?
you even interview me? Well, let me ask you a question. I was like, all right. You know, Kurt, good for you. Flashback of Foley on Triple H doing some real work. And then we go into match number 2.
Which is going to be William Regal defending the European Championship, defeating Hardcore Holly. 5 minutes. I'm glad it was only 5 minutes. They did... I don't know if I would even put these guys together on paper.
What's the term that we say here? They what?
Looking at
They worked hard.
They worked hard.
They worked hard.
Wait, can we just say is worked hard mean we hated the match, but we can't shit on it because we like the wrestlers.
We can't shit on the talent.
It's code for it.
It's
shit.
code for, but like
the match was not good, but like the talent, like for some odd reason, just we don't want to shit on the talent.
Yeah,
but
even though Regal in the beginning, Regal's promo was fucking funny.
Regal was really good here, and the match wasn't bad. It was just like
you can love your animals.
They didn't gel, and I wouldn't even put them
Yeah.
together on paper. Why would you put Hardcore Holly against William Regal? It doesn't make any sense. But 5 minutes, it wasn't gluttonous, right? It didn't go like longer than 5 minutes and annoy me.
Thumbs in the middle for Regal's promo.
Yep.
Yeah, put thumbs in the middle
as well.
So
maybe
Raven comes in and schmosses it for the DDT, and Holly, Regal retains, pins Holly in the process, right?
Hardcore Holly sucks.
Pretty clean on that.
He works hard. Sorry.
Next, David.
We get a Rikishi interview.
Oh God,
that's fantastic.
His heel turn sucked.
Oh. So we get the Rikishi interview.
He's a believable heel, or he could be a believable heel.
Oh, and then we roll into match number 3: China versus Val Venus.
Yes, China versus Val Venus. 5 minutes.
China
3
looking
seconds.
her best here.
Hello, ladies.
Yeah, China. I'm telling you,
She looked good here.
People like to make fun of her, but China,
why?
she stirred my
She looked
coffee. So this was the beginning of the feud with China with Right to Censor, because eventually China at WrestleMania 17, about 4 months later or 3 months later, would defeat Ivory. And every time I see Ivory, I'm like, what a good heel she was. She was so
She's
funny.
great. Her facial
and Val Venus
I think she's one of the great female performers. This is also one of the greatest chases that people don't think about.
She takes a bump in the very beginning, right on the
video
apron with her
package.
back. Yeah.
The video package caught us all up, like, to what the feud was or whatever. And China was kind of feuding with Right to Censor, where Ivory would end up running from her. And then finally China would get her WrestleMania 17 to defeat her for the title. I had a little belch.
It's a great chase. Great chase.
Craig got you there.
A little
Craig
belch
got you
right there.
there.
Yeah, Craig got me laughing, and I'm all fucked up on the inside right now. So Val Venus defeated China. It was a little chicanery going on. Ivory tripped her and would interfere and all that stuff. But it was fine. It was thumbs in the middle for what it was. It advanced the feud. Again, it was raw. Like, it wasn't too bad. And China held her own in there.
You guys ready for a random review here?
Please.
JR asked if China was up to the task, like she hadn't been in tougher matches. This feud stemmed from the Right to Censor not being happy that China was in Playboy. She attacked Venus in the aisle for the upper hand. Val swung the tide while Lawler made butterface comments about Ivory, and that's just mean. And by the way, off the cuff, that's dumb. Like,
it was
Ivory's
at this
beautiful.
point. This is the hottest and the fittest she's ever been.
But it's
for
dumb. It's dumb, and Lawler's a heel, but so's Right to Censor. So heels.
It doesn't make any sense.
I know that. Yeah, that part.
China made a short rally, and Val missed the money shot. However, Ivory tripped China, leading to the Fisherman Suplex, finish in 5 minutes and 2 seconds. Nothing match. China was never very good, and Val was arguably at his worst in the Right to Censor. 3/4 stars. This guy was doing so well until the last 2 sentences. Like, he has no idea what the storyline was leading up to, the build up.
Again, this was a December pay-per-view offering. Yeah, it was a December pay-per-view offering. It wasn't meant to fucking blow a feud off.
This review is only 3 years old, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, for real?
I mean,
shit.
I think ultimately I agree with him in the sense of, like, that the match was just thumbs in the middle because it progressed the storyline.
But it's worth more than a 3/4 star. A 3/4 star.
To him, it's a thumbs down.
There was some big moves in there, and China was taking a whooping by Val Venus, and Val Venus was still working. Just because he has a button-down shirt doesn't mean he's not doing.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, dude, he was jacked actually.
Because what do you think about the match?
Thumbs in the middle, and then Ivory, she made it for me. Her facial expressions and her interaction. Yeah, she was cracking me up. But yeah, it was thumbs in the middle.
Craig,
thumbs in the middle. This is the probably the best that China was, like, and the happiest she was, like, wrestling men and winning, and the hottest is coming off her Playboy spread. Like, I think it went downhill from here, but like at this point, like, and for Val Venus to do to have 50-50 kind of with her in these matches, like, she was a monster.
The next match is a last man standing match. Chris Jericho versus Kane, 16 minutes 48 seconds. Listen to me. For all the things that they can do right in WWF, like, it took them a long time to get Chris Jericho right. When he came over hot from WCW, and his first promo debuting in the company was against The Rock, he held his own. But Vince is hellbent, especially after WCW went out of business, which it hadn't quite happened here, but it was, come on, you could see the writing on the wall easily. He had to humble Jericho. He just had to. First of all, this match makes no sense. It's a last man standing match. So these guys get in there and they start wrestling. They start wrestling with each other. It's just a whip in the ropes, reverse match, which is not Kane's match, which makes no sense. Then it's like they forgot in the booking, and they're like, oh yeah, put him outside, put him in the back real quick, do this, do that. And then the ending was good. I love pushing the barrels over on Kane. I thought it was awesome. And it was a good visual or whatever. But even they fucked up the production on that because Kane put up his hand through the end to try to grab Jericho's leg. And I could tell that was supposed to be a bigger spot for some reason. Jericho's still supposed to win, but like Kane grabbing onto his leg, I think it was supposed to be like this tight shot that they got. And the commentator's like, even with barrels getting dumped on him, he didn't want to give up. Like, but he was down for a 10 count. I just feel like for some odd reason, they fucked the ending up. And the last 2 minutes of the match was worth it.
Referee, don't just stand there and count. Try to help. See if Kane is all right. Jericho is up. Jericho is up. Kane's into those barrels. It's buried. Jericho is up. Look at this. And it's over. Jericho's done it. Jericho is
worth it. Other than that, they wrestled for a long portion of it. And I'm like, why are you...
Well, you got 17 plus minutes, right?
It was 16-48. They kept throwing each other back in the ring after somebody would throw the other outside of the ring. They'd throw each other back in the ring.
It doesn't matter. It's the last
reversal, Irish whips, all that. And then at the end, they brought the chairs and they started incorporating the chair. But I felt like, why have it a last man standing match if you're just going to wrestle the majority? The entire thing should have been the outside. And Kane should have brutalized the shit out of him for the majority of it, with Jericho getting the advantage at the end.
Big
I give it a thumbs down because it's a last man standing match. Did Jericho and Kane figure out a way to try to work with each other? Yes, they did. But like, it was 16 minutes of me going, why are they wrestling? Stop wrestling.
Did you all?
Reversal.
It is a thumbs down. Did y'all notice that there was a future SmackDown commissioner in that reffing that match?
Negative. Oh, Teddy Long.
Teddy Long, player.
Right.
Holla, holla.
You're right. So I give it a thumbs down because it was last man standing match. It made no sense to me.
Thumbs down. It made no sense.
Even though the ending was really
should have
cool.
spilled out everywhere. Yeah.
I love the barrels, but I felt that something went wrong.
You love barrels?
You saw at the end with the arm coming out, Kane trying to grab him or something. It was really weird, and it didn't click for me. So Dave, go ahead. Sorry.
Jonathan, well, no, it's a thumbs down. Sorry, Craig, take it away.
Yeah, it didn't work. It was too long. I appreciate how massive Kane was.
He's huge.
He's jacked.
Man, he was. They worked hard, but no, thumbs down.
That's the answer every time. Yeah.
Thumbs down. It was one of those things because I didn't really remember it when we went back to watch the pay-per-view. Certain matches I can remember, and this one I didn't really. I was like, oh, this is probably going to be good actually, and then disappointed because, like you said, they tried to wrestle. And the last couple minutes, but other than that, thumbs down because I was actually anticipating more, even though I'd seen it before. But thumbs down.
I think that's a very good point. I expected more.
Yeah.
Even though we've seen it already in the past, but we don't remember it, so we go back and watch it, and you're like, no.
Yeah. Jonathan Coachman got a word with Mick Foley about the main event called Last Match Brutal, and it was more brutal for the fans and the competitors.
Snapmares and
Foley
arm drags.
Currently has no second thoughts on the cell, trying to revoke it. Shawn Michaels gave his thoughts on the main event. And he said, anything can happen. Okay. That was worth my time, Sean. Thank you so much for that.
But I'm the Heartbreak Kid.
And then you get another Hell in a Cell moment of, Mick Foley just taking a beating from Undertaker.
Heartbreak Kid.
Lot of replays back of the crazy Hell in a Cell because that stuff was so off the chain.
Which I love that build up. I love the build up.
Yeah, there was good build up there, right?
So, and we're on to the next match, right?
Yes, sir. Good to go.
So we are on to the WWF Tag Team Championship match in a fatal four-way match. The champions, Right to Censor, Bull Buchanan, and Goodfather, excuse me.
Defended. Yeah, you watch your mouth,
right, bud.
Put the titles on the line against Edge and Christian, the Dudley Boys, K-Quick, and the Road Dogg in a fatal four-way tag team match. 9 minutes 43 seconds. This match was so much fucking funner than I thought it would be. Like, I had a lot of fun during this match. The bit where Bubba and Road Dogg were doing the jab and dancing at the same time, and they looked over each other and were like, what the fuck, what are you doing? And they both double closed on each other. I laughed out loud. It was all these guys worked really well together for what could have been a clusterfuck. And Edge and Christian ended up beating, I think who did they pin? One of the Dudley Boys?
They pinned Bubba.
Yeah, to win the tag titles. So they won the titles here. The ending was flat. Like nobody cared when Edge and Christian won, which is weird to me. Because they were always really funny and they got a good reaction. But it was a much better match than I thought. I have to give it a total thumbs up. Like I really enjoyed it. I don't know why. Maybe because I was sort of disappointed as the night went on. Nothing was terrible on this pay-per-view leading up to it, but nothing was better than thumbs in the middle-ish. So I was like, when I watched it, I just thought everybody worked really great together here, and it could have been a clusterfuck, and it was not.
There was so much signature work from the Dudleys here.
I heard that, guys.
Yeah, so it was just it was great, and I think that's where Jess, you're saying like that's why it was weird when there was just no reaction when Edge and Christian won, because the Dudleys were putting their smack on everybody, and they're already over into it. And at that point, when Edge and Christian just kind of take over and take that match to the last, we were like, what?
It actually confused me. I was like, wait, was this an elimination match? And they just eliminated the Dudleys, and that's why everyone was just kind of like, oh, okay. And then when they're like, we got new tag team champions, and their music started playing, I was like, oh, I'm all that. Yeah, that ending was really,
Yeah, I think it was weird. I think you're right. Some kind of something in the translation got lost. But overall,
I still give it a
thought-
thumbs up. Yeah, because the fans were at least interact, or they were very active in it, especially with the Dudley spots to get the tables.
Just confused them.
Even though Bubba got blown up towards the end and fucked up the 3D, the first one.
Oh yeah.
Like he was just, you could tell he was tired as shit.
1,500 3Ds though. I'm just saying.
Yeah, he stood up and you could see his face. He's like, I'm fucking tired. Like,
just fucking.
Keep on, I'm blown.
I give a thumbs up, and apropos of nothing, my wife came in when I was watching this match, and I was watching K-Quick, and I was like, man, how good is K-Quick? And in my head, I was like, he's been around for 20 years, Gina. And Gina was like, who? And I was like, that guy.
Say it.
And I couldn't. And then my wife said, R-Truth? And I was like, yeah. And I was like,
yeah.
I couldn't fucking remember R-Truth's name. And I was like, I'm 44 and I have dementia. And
real
I couldn't.
Fans,
but watching K-Quick, I could not.
Know him as real fans know him as Ron Killings.
Right, that's right.
There you go, baby.
But I could not remember that was R-Truth. Just because they told me he was K-Quick.
And by the way, he looks exactly the fucking same.
He really, I know. There's no reason why I shouldn't have made the
He has more
connection.
tattoos now. I think he has more tattoos. Yeah.
But he was great back here. Like he was.
He
good.
has the
And he's
potion of eternal life.
He's still good now. 20 years later, like he's fun. He can wrestle. He's doing his job. He works hard. What?
He works hard. Backstage, Stephanie expressed her concern to Triple H, but he didn't care.
Actually, I thought this was a good I liked his promo here where he saved face.
Yeah.
Triple H was fucking gigantic, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And,
I
saw
think
his
the
veins
majority
popping out of his shoulder.
The majority of the promos here for Hell in a Cell with these guys are good when they're just talking. There was, there's
Triple H was like, he didn't turn into a chicken shit heel. He's like, this is what I live for. This is what I'm. And the French kissed her.
None of those men or the cell are gonna.
He was still technically with China here. It was very risque. So, but I loved it. I thought Triple H's promo was really good. Where Stephanie was trying to be the chicken shit heel, but Triple H was like, "No, I don't agree with you. Like, I want to do this. I want to get in here and get my hands dirty. So it's
yeah."
Good.
And they
Craig loved it. Craig absolutely loved it.
They play a brief Hell in a Cell moment where Cactus goes through the cell at No Way Out.
He kissed my ass.
Which is good stuff. Next match, the WWF.
So yeah, the next match was for
Championship.
The Intercontinental Championship. The one Billy Gunn was the defending champion. He took on Christopher Benoit. Who
the man who shall not be named,
who ended up defeating Billy Gunn by submission and winning the Intercontinental Championship 10 minutes 2 seconds. Look, they didn't give a shit about the IC title back here.
No.
And it was just an afterthought. This match was a Raw match in the sense of like they put Benoit on there to kind of light Billy Gunn up, and also at the same time for Billy Gunn to teach him WWF pacing, because the Radicals were kind of still new in the company at this point. They were here for a few months at this point, but this wasn't the Benoit that ended up going on and beating Triple H and Shawn Michaels at Mania 20 for the title. He was just getting used to it. But man, I got excited when I first saw them like get in the ring together. I'm like, I might like this, but then it never clicked out of first gear.
Yeah.
Sorry, Billy.
Well,
I like to kick him.
JR had a interview, kind of more, just a conversation with Steve Austin, who also puts the Hell in the Cell over. I'm gonna do it. Just
listen to the Great One talk.
So the next match is for the WWF Women's Championship. Ivory defended her title against Molly Holly and Trish Stratus, who Trish Stratus was in the beginning stages of becoming the Trish that we knew. She was not there yet. 2 minutes and 13 seconds. Let me give this match a thumbs down, not because I didn't like any of their characters, but like, how far has WWF women's wrestling come? Women in general, how far have they come since 2000? 20 years ago, this is what they were doing. They were 2 minutes and 13 secondsing it, using this match to highlight
more risk.
Yeah, using this match to highlight the return of the APA. Basically, is what they did, and it was like embarrassing for them, not because the women didn't try to perform, but because this is what they thought of them.
And you could argue that, to Jess's point, that Trish is not in her Trish Stratus form of of how good she got.
She was in good form,
but you still have Ivory and Molly Holly here as well. This is the epitome of women's wrestling at this moment, and you only give it 2 minutes. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
That's what they did. It was the popcorn breather match between.
And they had the talent.
The main event.
The talent was there in the ring.
Yeah.
And there's no
It's
reason.
just-
But
that's unfortunate. Yeah.
But you have to say, or at the same time, everything on top was so good that maybe Vince was like, let everyone get their 2-minute boners, and they all came to see the main event show.
So why? Okay, so if you
No,
wanna,
I know,
if you
but
wanna,
it
if
made-
you want to
I
go
don't
that
know.
route, why do you give Jericho and Kane 17 minutes?
They may have sold more T-shirts.
David.
Shut up, David.
They're women.
I mean, that
David.
actually might be a true
You could
statement.
just say, "Oh, okay, you're right," or you make the stupid fucking T-shirt regimen. I mean, what are you
But
talking
no,
about?
it's dumb. They should have.
Like,
they should
are
have
you
still.
saying Trish didn't sell tickets?
Not at that time.
What are
she
you?
didn't.
What are you talking about?
Maybe not.
Okay,
No, she did.
nobody
She probably
came to
did.
say Trish. That's what you guys are saying. Nobody came to say.
They came to see the
respect
Titantron.
They didn't respect.
They came to see her Titantron.
Did no one
it took
come? Did
decades
nobody
to-
come to see Lita? Nah, nobody came.
But no, it's still dumb that they gave like the talent involved in general.
Yeah.
Like
they're
that's stupid
always
that they
going to give
gave it
them the
2
breather
minutes.
match, Dave, in Mania or whatever. Like,
During that time,
never
they
had.
did.
What
any
I'm
respect.
saying is that the talent is greatly misconstrued at this moment. You don't understand what sells tickets. They understood it when Sable came. They didn't understand it here. If you can't understand that these ladies are getting people into the arena,
Sable didn't sell tickets for wrestling. That's for sure.
that's not what I'm saying. It became entertainment, did it not? Eventually, that's what we all talk about.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that Trish and Ivory. You can't tell me that these ladies did not get people.
Yeah,
to buy
no,
tickets
we're
and
all
to
saying
buy
the
some
same
seats.
thing in a strange kind of weird way that like they were disrespected
Talent wise,
in their position where they were.
But I think there's just too much good on top. I mean, it's like it's why they treated everything else on the bottom like shit too. You know,
It only took a short
at the
20
Intercontinental
years
title.
for them to realize. That's all.
Yeah.
How many?
Or like 15, I guess, because I guess the women's division's been good for like 4 or 5 years now.
and
But
well,
No,
yeah,
you're-
if you go to
you're-
NXT
yeah,
in
you're absolutely right. It was
2013,
like-
it only took them 15
decades.
years to get their head out of their ass.
Yeah.
There's a Hell in a Cell moment of Foley getting thrown off the cell at King of the Ring, which we all see thousands of times a day, it feels like.
never seen it.
And what are you talking about? And then The Rock got interviewed by Kevin Kelly, and where he just
He's fucking great.
shuts him
God
off
damn it.
and does his Rock moment, which, by the way,
Yes,
I'm
that's
so-
one of the funnier.
I get mad. I get mad watching The Rock now because he's so fucking good. Like everything he does.
it
I'm like,
was
God damn
really
it.
good. I'm like, oh
Jesus.
my God. Like, talking about, I have them eating out of my hand. Watch this segment and you'll understand what that means. Yeah, so good. Damn it.
Whatever happened to that guy?
I don't know.
He fizzed out after this.
I heard he did a
some
few
bad
movies or
decisions,
something.
but-
It was weird.
Yeah,
Yeah. And he tried to do a Jumanji reboot. I don't know if it was
box office
no.
bombs.
He has an
Jumanji?
OnlyFans account, I think.
So are we? Is this main event
Some
time? Is
pizza.
that what we're doing here?
It's main event
So
time.
Curtis Angle defended the WWF
Why do you
Championship
keep saying Curtis?
against
his name.
against The Rock, Stone
Curtis.
Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, The Undertaker, and Rikishi. 32 minutes and 7 seconds. So here's
Can
my
I say
thing.
something real quick before I
Yes.
get really mad about it?
Calm down,
Kurt
yeah.
Angle.
shit.
Why are you getting mad? Kurt Angle won. You calm your tits.
Kurt Angle got introduced third.
With the
I'm
belt.
glad
Yeah,
you said that.
yeah, I know.
I'm glad you said that because they did it so they would have the big pops for Taker. It's like they interviewed the heels first,
Yeah.
or they introduced the heels first, and then
Sure.
the faces, which is weird to me. I'm like, why the fuck would Angle come out last? It makes no sense. Like,
So it was Taker, Rocks, Austin.
no,
the
yes,
last
yeah,
three?
yeah,
yes,
exactly
yes,
that
yeah.
that order. Yep.
That makes sense.
And let me say, like,
Big pop, bigger pop, biggest pop.
Austin.
Oh, Taker did.
Austin.
Austin, yeah.
Austin to me here, like after he came back from his neck surgery, which was here, he was never the same for me. And why would you be, right? After taking all that beating on your neck and everything, and then coming back then the surgery that he had was risky. And he was never the same when he came back because wrestling was so hot here with the competition. When he left, The Rock jumped right into that spot. Taker reinvented himself. And I think, and Triple H really pulled his own as a heel, and Kurt Angle was a nice surprise, like, you know, for that whole time. So when The Rock came back, when Austin came back, yes, he did get a big pop here, but like, I never thought the same of him after this because like he turned heel at WrestleMania 17, like 4 months later, which Austin felt he needed to do because thought he was getting stale, which is funny. So I just never thought the same of him when he came back after his neck injury. It was weird. That Austin that saved wrestling changed because The Rock like stepped in. Now he was hugely popular, The Rock. I mean, it was ridiculous at times. Like where I was like, God damn, this guy has them in the palm of his hand. And look at what I'm saying right now. Like, look at all this talent in this fucking ring.
Look
like
at the picture behind you.
Yeah, Triple H, The Undertaker, Stone Cold, The Rock, and Kurt Angle. Holy shit! Like, Vince
me, brother?
Vince had all you fucking Rikishi. And the thing about Rikishi is if you're gonna make him a heel that you want to take serious, I don't want to see his ass cheeks.
Oh, he got got his moment and got to steal this pay-per-view.
Well,
like,
he did. It was overproduced, and so the match is a thumbs up because what Craig said earlier. Craig is like the production value was amazing. They really were making movies, pal, here, and it was so evident here. Like this, you can hate this if you're a purist wrestling fan, and I will understand why. Because it was very production, very in your face, very Q. This is the guy's Q. This is the guy, Q here, Rikishi, Q here, get in this position. Dave noted earlier the holes in the cage so they could climb it, like all that stuff. But
you weren't used to this at this point. Certainly not in 2000.
Yes, they were ramping it up here. They knew they'd already won, and like, you cannot like it, but I choose to watch it back here and realize it for what it was, a masterpiece of production and performances. And they were all great in this match. I hated Rikishi falling off on the truck, by the way.
Why?
I hated it. Not that he didn't risk his ass doing that.
It was too obvious.
Can someone explain how the truck got there?
Well, Vince...
Rikishi on the edge. You can see the end of the world from here. Don't. Oh, no. Oh, my God. Don't do it. Don't do it, Undertaker. No. My God. Rikishi right off the top of the cage.
Well, Vince
McMahon
called
brought it out to try and
Vince
stop
called
the
it in
match and
because
pull
Vince
it
wanted
down.
to rip Vince wanted to rip the cage apart because he was so mad that Mick Foley continued to go along with it. So Vince brought back the truck in. When it came in with wood chips in it, I was like, someone's gonna fall in it.
It was
so
a huge stretch. Like it really didn't work.
So I was annoyed that not that he brought a truck in to pull the cage apart. I thought that was fine. But I was like, when it was filled with like stuff that looked like it was meant to pad someone falling on it, I was like, this is dumb. Someone's gonna fall on it.
Well, because I was like, is it peanuts? Like, what the fuck is it? What is it supposed to be? Because in the beginning, they walk past the truck too, McMahon and I think the Stooges, and it's like with the bag. I was like, was that peanut? Like,
it's wood chips.
What's the Alabama? It's wood chips.
Yeah. So I was.
Which, by the way, if you follow wood chips, you can still stab yourself hundreds of times.
But the way they did it,
sure
I
they
never
got caught in Rikishi's
I never
buttons.
once thought this match was a clusterfuck. I never, because the production was so fucking brilliant. And every time they would cut away and focus on a different feud, this fueled Triple H and Austin, where they had an amazing 3 stages of hell match. Was it February? No Way Out, cuz, or something?
It was No Way Out. Yeah.
I don't have anything to add. I think
it was a movie. It really was a fight scene in a movie for 30 minutes.
I think. I think for all of those things,
cinema match before the cinema matches, huh?
Yes.
And you know what a lot of critics will say is that, and I think even Craig brought this up before we started recording, is skip to the end and watch this match and save yourself probably 2.5 hours. Thumbs up for this match.
Yeah. Craig?
Yeah. Oh, thumbs up for sure. I did not dislike the Rikishi. I understand how it was hokey and how it didn't really fit. But if it made Rikishi, and if that was the reason Rikishi was in this match, like for that dude to fall, and even before he fell on the truck,
it was impressive.
He was not comfortable walking on the top of that cage, and every step he took was on the supports and on the metal, and you could tell he was not comfortable up there.
He was so big, bro.
And the cameras on the ring, like shooting up, like as Jess was saying, like the production values of it. There was something so cool, and everyone bled. And Triple H bled first and bled a lot, and then he didn't win. But it was just I mean, it was a lot for Hell in a Cell, and to put 6 guys in there, and to it was one of the first matches where everyone had to take breathers outside for a long time, and you had to showcase guys on the top, guys on the bottom, guys outside, guys on the outside of the ring, on the perimeter. I
realized as I was like rewatching this pay-per-view a couple days ago, we were hard on the undercard because 6 of their main event men were all in one match.
Same match.
Yeah.
So we're bitching about Benoit looking odd against Billy Gunn, or Chris Jericho not matching up with Kane, which there kind of is no excuse for that. And there's no excuse for the women match either. But they had to make a storyline out of the Radicals, out of Hardcore Holly and William Regal, out of Chyna and Val Venus, because 6 of the biggest stars in wrestling, 5 of the biggest stars in wrestling history. Sorry, Rikishi, I apologize.
Sorry, Rikishi, I love you.
5 of the biggest stars in wrestling history were in the main event. So you know what I mean? Looking back, I'm like, well, they did the best with this undercard they could. It didn't suck. It was just blah, if that makes any sense. So when I look back at all of this, I'm like, you know what, man, this main event sewed everything together. It brought the whole night together for me.
Hey, wait a minute! Look at Kurt! Kurt Angle pinned the Rock! He's got a hand on top of the Rock! And still, the Rock got nailed with a stunner!
And Craig is expired.
Good stuff. Well, that's fine. He already gave his thumbs up, I think, or whatever.
Yeah, he did. So, Cuz, what did you say? You haven't.
Man. Well, when you hear 6-man Hell in a Cell, you already expect it's going to be a car crash.
Yeah.
They had literal cars in there, and guys were crashing
all over the place.
I was going to say, Cuz, to your point, when Triple H got slingshotted into the car, they couldn't sure glass that windshield and have him go through it.
Yeah,
they didn't think
because who went through it? Austin went through a window. I think he went. Did he go through the construction truck window? I don't know.
Might have, yeah.
Angle went through one. You could see he was bleeding on his back.
Triple H did not go through that windshield.
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell?
Triple H was bleeding like a stuck pig. Oh man, and even right now, or when I watched it earlier, seeing Stone Cold stun Triple H on the Hell in a Cell, I'm like, oh god, just thinking that thing can just come down.
Right?
Yeah, but I mean. It was an enjoyable match. I mean, it's what you expect when you, like I said, when you hear 6 men in a Hell in a Cell, you already expect it to be a Destruction Derby style match, and it was that. Everyone bled. Vince still carrying that momentum from early in the night. This is my I own this place. Yeah. I own the WWF. When Foley got him kicked out, I agree with Craig. I still love the Rikishi spot. I think it's pretty. He's a big dude, man, to fall down from the Hell in a Cell like that. But it was impressive. I hate that it was too obvious.
Yes, that's what I was critiquing, not the fact that a 400-pound man put his ass on the line.
But mixed. It's mixed for me because it's I hate that it's so obvious. But at least in storyline wise, they explain why they're bringing the truck down and all that stuff. Yeah. It makes sense that a construction company would have wood chips in the back of their truck. I guess I don't know, maybe cement or a cement mixer. Something like that, but imagine Rikishi just falling through a cement mixer,
just bouncing off that thing. Oh my god,
he's impaled through the cement
what Craig
mixer.
said earlier, it is a one-match pay-per-view. It was like a super raw, but it was only a December offering, so it's not like it was one of the big.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have to keep taking that into consideration.
This match, they went out of their way to fight really hard. So I think overall,
it worked hard.
This pay-per-view worked hard. This pay-per-view. No. I would say overall, if you're taking it all in, I would say it's a thumbs down, except for the main event. The main event is worth watching, and that's what you came to see. Again, it was a December pay-per-view offering.
Oh, yeah, hit us up on Instagram at O.W.P2019. Click on Linktree. You can find us on several platforms, including Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, and Google Podcast. And anything that we talk about is inspired by the WW Network. So do yourself a favor.
You're damn right.
Yeah. And get a free month today.
Money.
WWE, WWE, ECW, and more. This is Dave, Jess, Cuz Craig with the O.W.P. signing off. Have a good one.
That O.W.P. is going to take us to the top. Stay the fuck away.
self-suppressing your own cognitive